getting ready, preparing for the Oregon Ducks. In my opinion, one of the better football teams in America, one of the top offenses, really fast. Chip Kelly does a great job. Defensively, I feel like it's one of the best defenses in college football too. Got a chance to face them 2 years ago when I was at Auburn. I was very impressed with them. They held us to 22 points. We had Cam Newton. A lot of those same faces are out there. I believe they're better than they were 2 years ago on defense. Special teams, one of the best special teams in America with the kick returner. He probably is the most electric guy in college football. An outstanding punter. So it's a huge challenge for us. Our guys are extremely excited. We feel like we've got a very good plan. And it'll be a great measuring stick of where we're at as a program after this game.
Coach, I was going to ask people, talk this week about obviously you and Chip meeting again and just sort of all the storylines that go with that. People 2 years ago talked about the offense and how similar they kind of are. But if you look at them schematically, it almost seems like what really makes them similar to the tempo you guys work at. Do you guys kind of feel like you've sort of made tempo and I guess much more common practice now than how you guys have run your teams?
Well, one thing that Chip understands is tempo is a great advantage in college football if you can execute, and he's proven that. And it's been very impressive, to watch, and they do a great job. And he's got some outstanding playmakers to use, and he's done a great job recruiting.
You feel like people kind of maybe misrepresented it as a spread system. If you look at it, you guys run kind of the same thing. They run dive counters, same thing you guys kind of do. You think people look at speed and all those kinds of stuff?
Yeah, I think if you look at the last 4 or 5 years, both our teams really are dictated on the run. I know they may call spread whatever, but we're a run team. They're a run team. We just happen to be playing at a fast pace just like they do.
Coach, most of your experience, obviously, in the college level is on offense, and now you're going to be going up against one of the toughest offenses in the nation, like you said. How much will Coach Thompson and you split that up? How's that going to work with you two?
Well, I got a lot of confidence in Coach Thompson. He's a veteran guy. He's faced a bunch of great offenses. The unique thing that we have is our first year here working together. But even bigger than that, we really have about 3 guys that were consistent starters coming back. So we got a bunch of youth, a bunch of young guys. So we've really got our work cut out for us, being in the right place, adjusting the tempo. And then even if you're in the right place, then you got to make plays, you got to tackle. And we got a lot of question marks right now. We feel like we got a bunch of young talent, but at the same time, there's a lot of question marks how they'll respond to each situation.
They don't really seem to match what they do formation. I mean, they kind of line up the same thing every time, and they seem to just eventually kind of prey on you being a little over-exuberant, trying to maybe get on the zone read or something like that. With a young group going in against an offense like that, where maybe some discipline, some patience is going to get. What's sort of the message you stress this week? Yeah,
well, we've got to be very sound, and at the same time, you got to be somewhat simple. I mean, they throw a lot at you, and they go extremely fast, and they are very good coaches. They take what they give you, they adjust, and so we're going to have to be able to adjust with them. And it's like I said, I feel very good about our plan right now. It's just a matter of being able to execute.
What all ways do they use DeAnthony, and just how do you defend a guy like that?
Well, he is a outstanding playmaker. They put him at running back some. Then they'll split him out, match him up. Then they'll get him out of the backfield vertically down the field. He's a tough matchup. He's a great kick returner. Now he's going to punt return and kick return this year. Just probably one of, if not the most dynamic offensive threat in college football.
Kenyon Barner takes over this year too. You saw him a couple years ago.
Yeah.
How is he different from Michael James, who's been there for a while, at least from what you've seen, and what sort of skill set does he bring? What kind of change?
He's a little bit different than LaMichael, but he's a big, strong guy. He can do a lot of things. He's an outstanding running back in his own right, and he's an experienced guy, which I think is very critical, and he understands our offense very well.
Does the fact that you're facing one of college football's fastest offense impact the way you approach things as a play, calling plays, or the speed at which you run your offense?
Well, we have a lot of confidence in who we are as a pace team. And at the same time, you never know how the game unfolds, whether it's this game or any other game. So strategically, how the game unfolds dictates a lot of things. But we are a pace team, and we see the advantage of that, and that's what we program our guys to do.
They kind of tweak their defense. They've got kind of a weird hybrid 3-4. They bring some zone blitzes. Just from how they kind of changed defensively since the last time we saw them, at least from the scheme.
Well, really, I mean, they've tweaked a couple things, but they are who they are, and they're very good at it. And their defense coordinator, I have a lot of respect for. They've got a lot of veteran guys that understand their defense. Very rarely will you see them, get out of position, and they make plays. They're very good up front. I mean, that's the thing that stands out to me up front. They're very good. They got probably the best safety in college football in Boyette. I mean, he's the one that hurt Cam Newton 2 years ago in a great hit, and he was all over the field. And he's kind of the quarterback of that defense.
Is there anyone you could compare Thomas to that you've coached or that you've coached against?
You know, he's pretty unique. He's a hard comparison. He can do a little bit of everything. I mean, they could probably put him at quarterback and direct snap, and he'd probably be pretty good at that.
In the past against defenses, you've talked defenses that are kind of aggressive that will bring some zone blitzes and things like this. You've talked about the necessity of showing different motions, showing things, putting guys in their place, and being a little bit adaptable. What sort of things do you kind of tweak maybe formationally, or at least from?
Well, really, they pretty much do what they do. It's really hard to out-formation them or anything. They stick to what they do, and you know that, but they're very good at executing. And that's usually the toughest to move the ball against, people that stick to who they are and what they do. And our offensive line, we're going to have a good game, running the ball and pass protection. We just need to be able to hold up.
I was going to say, last year when you hired Rick, you said you guys would kind of share play calling duties. Kind of break down how that process is going to work during the game. Well,
Rhett, he heads up this offense, during the week, and as far as the meetings and all that, and of course, game planning, all that. Me and him will get together like we always have. He'll be up in the booth, and I'll be on the sidelines, and we worked extremely well together in the past, and we'll have that same philosophy. He'll share a whole lot of the play calling duties along with myself.
See, kind of go with 3 running backs in the rotation. What sort of, I guess, the plan to use them differently, or just sort of kind of see David top of that chart? What sort of?
Well, yeah, we're going to try to be very specific with all 3, especially early in the season. I mean, they're still all 3 learning the offense and learning what to expect, and so we're going to try to utilize their skills as best we can early in the season until they all get a good grip of the overall offense. But we feel like we can use all 3 of those guys, at times during the game.
This Oregon team compared to the team you faced 2 years ago, do you feel like they're just as good?
Defensively, I believe they're better. I'm very confident of that. Offensively, I mean, they were very good then, and I think they're very good now. It's kind of hard to tell with that. Their special teams are, especially with that punter. I mean, he's a difference maker, and their special teams with their return game, with the quick guy. I mean, that's a factor.
Have you ever been to Autzen Stadium or seen
No,
a game?
no, I hadn't. I've had some friends that have been there, and they're very impressed, and it's a great atmosphere for college football, from what I understand.
They just named starting quarterback, true freshman, going into his first start. How do you balance, maybe trying to put him in some difficult situations versus not, letting him take advantage of, you all being over aggressive? One thing that stands out to me, he's a big, fast, athletic guy, and he fits their style very well. We really expect him to run quite a bit. Not that he won't throw, but we expect him to be a runner, and hopefully that we can do some things to keep him off balance.
Have you taken any particular measures to deal with the atmosphere, or the crowd, or anything?
Yes. We've had music and fight songs and a little bit of everything at our practices as far as noise. I mean, that'll be a big factor with our communication offensively and defensively. We've, matter of fact, started that back probably the first week of camp.
How has the team responded to that?
I thought they've responded very well. Now, until you actually get there and the live bullets are coming, but we, as coaching staff, I feel like have prepared our guys as best we can, as far as the crowd noise is concerned up to this point.
You said last week it's key to get off a good start. The teams that have gone in there, they have been able to slow the offense, but offensively there have been some turnovers, some miscues, things like that. Yeah. Do you change how you play call early on just to maybe not be too conservative, but get a good rhythm going, get a little bit settled in? How do you sort of approach the initial stages there?
Well, it's very important to get off to a good start. They feed off people when they get a little bit ahead and the other team panics and tries to do some things out of their comfort zone. That's when they they really take advantage of that, and they've done that to a lot of good teams, not just an average team, but a lot of good teams. So yeah, there'll be a little bit of patience involved in play calling, but at the same time, we're going to have to make some big plays because they are extremely tough to consistently move the ball down the field on.
What's the passing game? Maybe take a little bit of what's the situations the passing game might present themselves, to be a little bit of a change of pace. If the run game, stifle a little bit early, what do you guys like to do?
Well, we've got to get first downs. I mean, you got to get first downs, and whether it's possession throws, big throws. I mean, we're going to have to be able to throw the football to be successful. I mean, to line up and run the ball on them consistently will be a little bit of a challenge. But we are a run play action team, so we're going to need to be able to do both to be successful.
What's your schedule look like this week, Coach, as far as practice and then eventually getting to Oregon?
Well, we're going to try to keep our routine as close as possible to what it'll be during the season. A Tuesday a really good practice, a Wednesday good practice, Thursday start taking it off of them, a special teams emphasis, and then of course Friday walkthroughs and meetings, and Saturday being the same thing. The unique thing about this is we play so late on Saturday that we'll actually get probably another walkthrough and another meeting extra than what we normally would, which this first game will be needed.
What are the most difficult decisions in terms of the depth chart, in terms of figuring out a 2 deep?
There's if you look at the 2 deep, I mean, there's a great chance that the guys in the 2 deep will all play. So I mean, especially in a game like this, as far as depth, and there's a lot of, even though we put it 2 deep, there's still some competition going on as far as that goes. And then of course wide receiver, I didn't want to leave out Julian Jones. He will definitely be in the mix, and he's kind of one of those versatile guys that I'm not going to say utility, but he can do a lot of different things for us, and you'll see him on the field as it goes. But really, as far as difficult decisions, there wasn't too many that I would sit here and say, oh, that was tough. But there's some that are listed 1 and 2 that could be on the field the exact amount of time.
You've been in a lot of these atmospheres, a lot of these places. Do you feel like the crowd can actually affect the game?
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. A home crowd that's educated can definitely be a plus, and I guarantee you they're educated, and they've been a factor before. One of my former players, Damian Williams, that was at USC. He went there a couple times, and he says they do a great job as understanding the game and all that. So.
Earlier, when I asked you a question about the scheduling, you mentioned following the Boise plan, and I'm not real sure what exactly the Boise plan is as far as future schedules. Can you maybe explain what you mean?
Yeah, we're going to schedule strategically in the future. We're playing probably the toughest 3 games in a row in college football this year, and so in the future you'll see us schedule a money game at the same time. There'll be games that are a little bit more strategic than this year.
Yeah, next year's schedule's along that lines, kind of already set. Obviously with Auburn and UAB coming here, maybe the stats to move the series. Is that 4th game kind of in there? What do you look at the Little Rock?
Yeah, we're still working on that, and like I said before, we really want to play a game in Little Rock, and we are still working on that as we speak, and we're working on an opponent, and we've been working hard on that, and so we're trying to be true to what we said.
Anything else, guys? Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you all.